Hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Facts webinar series. I'm very excited today to host all of our Filipino community today. So mabuhay to all of my Filipino physical therapy community. We're so excited to have all of you here today. My name is Brenda and I'm a part of the Facts team. And today I'm joined by Ed, who's a licensed physical therapist in the US and is a licensed physical therapist in the Philippines as well. Ed, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. Thank you, Brenda, for inviting me.
You're very welcome. I'm just going to share a little bit about Ed before we get started. So Ed graduated from the University of East Raymond Magsaysay Memorial Medical Center with a BS degree in physical therapy in 1998. He's a registered physical therapist in Philippines as well as US. He has many years of work experience and he's currently working in the home health setting in US. He also works as an online tutor for NPT Final Frontier, and he assists other students, Filipino students, who plan to take their license exam in the US. Ed also has 23 years of teaching experience in different healthcare professions. That is awesome, Ed.
Oh, thank you.
All righty, so without further ado, let's get you started. I think you should be able to share your screen.
All right. Are we good?
Looks good.
All right. Welcome. Good evening, Filipinos who are here in the US, and magandang umaga for Filipinos who are in the Philippines and in other countries. I am here to I know many of us could relate on this with the presentation that I will be doing. But I will help you and will try to guide you, especially with facts, on how you could have the opportunity to study or work here in the US as a physical therapist. So in the Filipino physical therapist, we know that we studied 5 years. These are my students. So we studied physical therapy, Bachelor of Science in Physical Therapy for 5 years. And though most of us would think, or still more Filipinos think that we are just mature. It's kind of sad in the Philippines because we are still being, they think that we are still like a part of like reflexology or mature. But we finished physical therapy for 5 years. And this is our dream. This has been, we want after graduation, what do we do next? We study more and pass our local board exam. So recently we just, they released the new physical therapist in the Philippines. And a lot of us would do will have work experience in the Philippines, apply there, and work for 2 to 3 years. But actually, Filipinos, we don't really need experience before we could apply or we could process our papers so we could stay, live, and work here as a physical therapist. Okay, so a lot of us dream to work in another country because we know that the salary as a physical therapist in the Philippines is not that good. It's not that high. So we work so hard, we treat our patients, but the compensation is not worth it. So we go to different countries. Most of my students are in UAE, Saudi, in the Middle East, and some of them are in Australia. Some of them are in UK. But here, our main goal is basically, but my dream, my real dream is to live here and to work here in the US. Some of us are in Texas, some of us are in Florida, but I am living right now here in Chicago. So where did I start? How do I start? How did I start my dream? So I started with credentialing. We have a lot of credentialing bodies like agencies like ICD, IERF, CGFNS, FCCPT, and I know most of the Filipinos did apply for NYSED, so FCCPT NYSED. So I know that there are a lot of it's lag right now, and a lot of us are waiting for their ATTs. But rest assured that they are doing their job, they're doing their work in giving you as soon as possible your ATTs. Okay, so these are all good credentialing bodies like CGFNS, FCCPT, IERF. I had mine with IERF, and then we also have ICD also. So what's next? We also need to apply for visa. We go to US Embassy online, and then we make an appointment with them. The problem now is that the appointment or the visitor's visa is that the appointment wait time is 573 calendar days. So it means that the opening or the time that you can have an appointment for your visa is July of 2023. But what can we do right now? You can always, what my students would usually do is that they always go online and check any openings within this year, for example, or next year. There are sometimes that openings where some Filipinos would be able to have an emergency visa or a visa appointment. So I hope if you have done that, good for you. And the fee for visa application is $160 for tourist visa. You may say that you want to go to Hawaii, to Guam, or to the mainland. Okay, so it's up to you guys where you want to go, but there are some restrictions. I've been hearing things like they're more strict if you want to go to the mainland. So most of us would prefer going to Hawaii or Guam. Okay, as long as you could be able to take the exam, that's fine, and pass it. Then it will be easier for you to come here and work with as a physical therapist. Okay, there are a lot of NBT preps or preparations or for review. I am working with a very good group here, and most of these are my students. And as long as you study hard, you review hard, know the concepts, and definitely you will pass the exam. I know Filipinos are very good in taking their exams, especially for physical therapy exams. What about sponsorship? There are different agencies. There are other agencies who are getting Filipino physical therapists, but make sure that they are legal. They are nice in a way that they could give you a good offer, so you could work with them. You could work here in the US as an immigrant or working visa. All right, I guess that's it, Brenda.
Thank you for sharing that, Ed. Alrighty, and I see that the questions are pouring in, Ed. So do you want to go ahead and start with answering the questions?
Okay.
Alrighty.
Yes.
Okay, give me 1 second. Alrighty, so the first question we have over here is, how do you start with the credentialing process in the first place?
You have to look for as I said earlier, there are different credentialing agencies. You can try FCCPT, CGFNS, IERF, ICDs, and all of them are very competent and they are very good in evaluating your grades. Once they evaluate your score or your grades, your transcripts, then they would give you if you have deficiencies. They will tell you if you have deficiencies and if you have to take other subjects. Or if you don't, like I know a school who has been I don't know why their subjects may be very good because they don't have deficiencies. If you come from that school, then you don't have any deficiencies. But if you do, then you have to look for schools that would allow you or accept you to get short courses so that you could be able to be eligible to take the exam. And then once they give you a report, then you could apply also to the different states or the jurisdictions, and then they will give you your eligibility, and they will FSBPT will be able to give you your authorization to take the exam. That's it.
Thank you for sharing that, Ed. And I just wanted to share with our viewers that I see that we have a lot of participants from different part of the world. I'm getting messages from people who are from India, from Thailand, and we will definitely address your questions towards the end of the session. So hang in there. All right, Ed, we're going to go to the next question, which is in Tagalog, but I have the English translation as well. How much salary? How much should the salary be? How much salary should a physical therapist expect in the US?
Salary depends on the state. It depends on the state whether, for example, California they give you a high salary in California. But the problem is the living situation in California. It's too high. So it still depends. It still depends. There are different states that offer like this or lower than California, but everything comes with the prevailing wage. So there is a prevailing wage determination, that there is a range of salary in every state. Yeah, so, but it's very different in the Philippines. You can work in the Philippines for a month. The work that you do in the Philippines for a month is just like 1 week here in the US. That I can tell you, right?
That is very interesting to know. And I completely agree with you. The salary absolutely varies depending on which state you're working in or which practice setting, right? Like in the US, I know home health and patients who work, therapists who work at skilled nursing facilities usually tend to have a higher pay versus therapists who work in some other settings. And your standard of living and in whichever state in whichever state you're staying in, obviously also has an impact. So I completely agree with you. All right, the next question, Ed, is difference of practice in US versus Philippines. Can you share about that?
Right now, the practice in the Philippines is getting better because a lot of our Filipino physical therapists there are still studying more. They're trying to get more experiences and then get more training, seminars, CE units, and then some of them are also DPTs already. But the thing is, what I can still see there is that the salary is really still not good. We work so hard there. We don't have like a proper home health program there, but we call it as home care. So we go to different houses and treat them, but the fee would be very low because most of the Filipinos it's just out of pocket pay. So it's not from insurance, not too much from insurance. Yeah, so the only difference here is that in the Philippines we still do that. Here in the US, everything is in order. Whether you work in an outpatient like I do or in home health, where it is very strict, but you can treat patients, you can do your notes, and you earn good money.
Okay, and then I just have a question in the chat from iPhone who's attending the webinar, and the person is asking, is there a salary difference between Bpt degree and someone with a Dpt degree?
I'm just getting my DPT next year, so Brenda, yeah, I guess you could be able to answer that.
Absolutely. I think having a doctorate in physical therapy degree definitely puts you in a better position to negotiate your salary. But having said that, as far as you have a work permit, as far as you have clinical experience, as far as you're a competent physical therapist, you can always make good money. So it's not going to be a huge difference, but definitely a good idea to have a DPT degree.
Yeah, true.
Alrighty. Okay, and the next question is how to be a competent USPT despite being foreign trained?
Continuing learning, do continuing education, attend workshops. I did. Right now, to be honest with you guys, I'll be getting my DPT next year or this January. So even if I have been teaching for 23 years or for so many years, I still have to learn more. I want to learn more. And that is what makes us different from other physical therapists, not because we're foreign trained, but we want to become better to help ourselves and to help our patients. Yeah.
Fair enough. I completely agree with you. At the end of the day, as physical therapists, as healthcare professionals, we always need to keep ourselves abreast of the latest literature, latest interventions, treatment techniques. And I think I think as a PT, you never stop learning, right? You always have to keep learning, keep growing, right? So yeah, okay. So the next question is from Alyssa. I'm guessing I'm pronouncing your name correctly. She asks, is DPT a requirement for visa screen? And
Actually, no. I don't have DPT, and I became a licensed physical therapist here in the US. So,
I agree. So,
but it still depends on the credentials, right? The credentialing evaluation.
yes. So, especially for a visa screen or having like a healthcare worker certificate, this question was actually asked by somebody else as well. So, I'm just going to elaborate that on it a little bit. You're required to have a master's degree or higher, and it could be in any profession. So, you could have a master's in business administration, and that would be okay too because that is counted as a master's degree. So, that is for the visa purpose. Just to study like your transitional doctorate, you don't need a master's degree or you don't need a visa, especially if it's an online course. You don't need a visa to study that. So I hope that answers your question, Alyssa. Okay, Ed, going to the next question. It says, after passing, can we transfer our license to another state right away?
Yes, but you need to meet the state's requirement. If, for example, if you go to New York, there's no Toefl. But if you go to another state that requires Toefl, you still have to take Toefl for you to be able to work there. Or if in other states that would require you to have like 9 months of, how do you say that? Like the PTLA, right? Like PTLA, like in California, that you need to have to still have to do like 6 or 9 months of like OJT. You can say that, right? Yeah. So, but you can definitely just transfer, or you can do by endorsement.
Fair enough. The next question is also asked in the chat. The person says, I have NYC credentialing. What agency should I go for a visa screen? Should I finish my Tdpt before getting a visa screen? So do you want me to take this one, Ed?
Yes, Brenda, please.
Sure. So if you already have a New York credentialing done, there are two agencies currently that give you a visa screen or a healthcare worker certificate. One is FCCPT and the other one is CGFNS. So you can apply to either of those credentialing agencies. In addition to that, the next question is, should I finish my Tdpt before getting a visa screen? Again, like I mentioned, the requirement for a visa screen certificate is having at least a master's degree or higher. So if you already have that, you can directly go ahead and apply. If you don't have it, then maybe it's a good idea to do your Tdpt or master's first and then apply for a visa screen. I'm going to follow that by another question. This person is asking, oh, I lost it. Do I have to finish master's first before doing the credentialing? This question was asked on Facebook by Nollymac. If I hope I pronounced your name correctly. And the answer is yes. If you need to have a master's degree in order to get a healthcare worker certificate. So you can start with your credentialing process and get licensed, but you cannot start working in the US without a healthcare worker certificate. And for healthcare worker certificate, you need a master's degree. So you will need that. There's a question from Inaz on Facebook, which is about what are the TOEFL requirements if my study was in the English language? Yes, you will still have to fulfill your TOEFL requirements. Again, if you're applying for a type 1 visa or a healthcare worker certificate, you will have to take TOEFL. Unless you already have a degree from the US, then it can be waived. All right, I'm trying to pick questions that are more specific to the Philippines. Ed?
There are states that require TOEFL, but you can also give a letter from your school that the mode of instruction from your school is in English. Like for example, in Maryland, what I had before is that it's a requirement. TOEFL is required in Maryland, but they also asked me to just give a letter from the school, coming from my school, that our mode of instruction there is in English, and they allowed it. And I did not take any TOEFL anymore.
Perfect. So the next question is, I think this question is also from Facebook. Somebody is asking, I am preparing for NPTE. Any suggestions? I think, and I'm sure you're going to enjoy answering this question with all of your 23 years of teaching experience.
How can you prepare? Read.
Somebody's asking for suggestions.
Study. Take your have concepts and choose the best review prep for NPTE. Go online, search for the best, or search for different review centers, review online groups, and check them out. If you know that they're good, if you see a lot of students passing from their group, then definitely they are the ones that you have to enroll in, and you have to study hard, pray hard, and have fun in reviewing. Then definitely you will pass the exam.
Perfect. I have a question from Man in the chat. He or she is asking, is it hard to get visa to take NPTE? And asking if while waiting for the visa slots, should you start studying?
There are NPTE preps. Like for example, where I am teaching, I teach Filipino physical therapists for their NPTE. We usually have like 9 to 12 months of review preparation. So you have a lot of time reviewing it, and we will give you a lot of concepts for it to make it easier for you to memorize and to remember all the things that you have to know when the time comes that you have to take your exam, the NPTE. So while waiting for your visa, while waiting for your credentials, you may start reviewing already. Yeah.
Fair point. And I just wanted to clarify one thing. I think Alyssa again had a question. So I'm just going to clarify about the master's and the Tdpt thing that we spoke about. Is any master's degree okay, or does it have to be PT related? Yes, any master's degree or higher is okay. It doesn't have to be PT related as far as you already have a bachelor's or some other degree in physical therapy. So your master's doesn't have to be in physical therapy. And again, if you're already a US citizen, or if you already have a green card, you don't need master's. The master's requirement is only for people who are going to be applying for an H-1B visa. So yeah. Next question is from somebody in chat who's asking, if we pass the exam, how can we get student visa after enrolling for DPT in the university?
The thing is, most of the DPT courses right now are online. So I don't know if they will allow you to have a student visa while if your course is online. So I don't know if they will issue a student visa for you if it's an online course.
You're absolutely right, and I completely agree. If you select a course that is offered online, there are a lot of schools that offer an online TDPT. So you will get your doctorate degree sitting in your house. It's not going to be as expensive. Again, it's going to be a lot cheaper than doing the course on campus. But having said that, because it's an online degree, you will not get a student visa. To get a student visa, you have to select a course which is done in person in the US. I have another question in chat, again related to education while we're on that topic. Does the master's degree have to be taken in the US, or does a Canadian master's degree work too? Either is fine. Yeah, either is fine. As far as it could be from any country, as far as it's a master's degree, as far as it's a master's degree, you can, you are accepted, like that's accepted. You don't have to worry about which country it is from. I have a question from Josh. He says, hi, Ms. Randa, my question is regarding visa screen. Are there any credentialing agencies that still accept a Bpt degree? And the answer is no, unfortunately, because for visa screen, which is getting like your getting your work visa, it is a USCIS requirement to have a master's degree. So you will need a master's degree or higher. It doesn't depend on the credentialing agency. That's a USCIS rule. Okay. I'm trying to club all the questions which are related to education before skipping to the next part, but looks like there are different questions now. So Ed, I have a question here. What state or state would require that I have to be licensed in my country before I can take my NPTE?
There are about like approximately like 13 states that would require you to have a good standing license in your country, like in the Philippines. So it may be like Arizona, Georgia, Idaho, Kentucky. Those are some of the states that would require you to have a local license or a license in your country.
Okay. And then going back to the TDPT question, someone's asking if you took TDPT, are you still required to do a CWT6 evaluation? Let me know if you want me to take that question.
You can take that question.
Okay, so if you, so someone is saying if you've done TDPT, are you still required to do the CWT6 evaluation? So ideally, the goal, even if you have a TDPT or not, you're supposed to meet the state's requirement. So as far as like if you do the TDPT and you still have some deficits, then you will have to take those additional courses and then you can apply for your exam or endorsement. But you have to meet the state specific requirement. You have to meet the state specific requirement, even if you have a TDPT. The advantage of doing TDPT is that there's a lesser chance that you'll have to take additional courses in addition to TDPT, but it doesn't guarantee that you will never have to take any extra course if you have a TDPT degree. So you can still be deficient in general education credit or maybe just one or two courses. So you definitely have to take those courses, even if you have a TDPT degree. The next question is, if your PT license is in New York, then as a Filipino trained PT, how can you work in a different state?
You can just transfer your score or by endorsement. But again, they may have a different requirement that you still have to get. Like for example, if you have to take Toefl, then you have to take Toefl even if you are a licensed PT already in New York. So you have to really know the requirements of the state wherein you will have to transfer in, so that you could be able, or they could give you your license to in that state.
Got it. Next question is, can we use a travel agency to assist with US visa appointment?
In the Philippines, it's getting easier let's just say it's getting easier. It gets easier if you use a traveling agency. The traveling agency will just do you check on the appointment dates that would be open every day, and you just need to pay them instead of you doing it every day, checking the schedules, the appointments every day, and looking for an opening before January or July of 2023. Because as I said earlier, the appointment date or waiting date already for visa appointments or visa interview is July of 2023. Yeah.
Okay. We have this question again from Facebook. This is for Ed. The person is asking, how do we prepare to pass the NPTE? Looks like people want you to give some more suggestions. Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. How do you think was it like studying for an exam, like for the Philippines PT school, right? And then versus studying for the NPTE? How would you say that was different?
The questions here are very different from the Philippines because we don't have all of the above and none of the above options. So we have 4 options too, same thing, multiple choice, but I think it's still manual. So we use ball pen and a sheet of paper to answer it. Here it's computer. So you really have to train yourself doing a lot of practice questions online. So that's why I've been telling everyone to look for a good review organization or a good review institution that could really help you, that could give you an access for online examinations that would like simulate on how you will really take the exam or do the exam for NPTE. Again, while preparing, you really have to read hard, really concentrate in reading. If nothing is coming into your brain right now, just stop and then watch Netflix, then go back afterwards. Know the concepts, practice everything. Practice, use your the questions that they will give you, the books, the review books that we will be using, or you will be using. So do the practice questions there, and definitely read the rationals, and for sure you will pass the exam.
Thank you for sharing that, Ed. The next question is, as a Filipino trained PT, which state is the easiest to get licensed in?
It's the same thing all across. The questions will be the same, even if you want to have a jurisdiction in if you want to take the license in Hawaii or in New York, the question will be the same. The questions are the same, and it still be 250 questions. 200 will be graded, 50 will not be graded. You need to have like around 137 to 139 as a score for you to pass the exam. So there's no difference. Which state that you would prefer, it's still the same. You still have to study hard.
Okay, the next question is from Ernest. He says, good day. I already have a US tourist visa and I already have an FCCPT type 1 certificate. Just in case I pass the NPT, Ernest, you will pass the NPT. Can I already work as a PT in the US, like for California? Are there agencies out there that will sponsor me?
You need an employment authorization first, or you need to have your visa changed to working visa, or an EB2 or an EB3 or an immigrant visa. So I would prefer immigrant visa because it's easier. You're a green card holder already once you get that. But it's I don't know if EB3 combo is still open. So if it's open and you're still here in the US, then that would be good, because it will be easier for you. You don't have to go back to your country, and they can just change your visa status to immigrant. Yeah.
Perfect. The next question is from Mylene. She says, I can get the I think she wants to say, can I get the exam in Canada? I'm here right now. So if I can get the results of the credentialing, can I take the exam in Canada?
I think there's a different credential evaluation in Canada, right?
Yeah, so I think Mylene, if you already have a credentialing from FCCPT or CGFNS, like the agencies that do credentialing for US physiotherapists, like physiotherapists who want to practice in the US, if you have that credentialing done, then you can absolutely take your NPTE in Canada as well. You can take it in Canada, any of the states in the US, or Guam. You can take it in any of these places. So the answer is yes. The next question is from Kiana. Can I start my application at FCCPT for type 1 without passing NPTE? Because I'm still waiting for NYSEED to respond to take the NPTE. Thank you. And again, the answer is yes. You can absolutely start your application for type 1 as well. There's a chance that you might have course deficits, which you will have to fulfill and then apply for a reevaluation. But you don't have to have a license in hand. You don't have to finish your NPT before you can start applying. You can just start applying directly for that. Kind of scrolling through the questions. I feel like we're slowing down. The next question is the visa screen certificate valid for 5 years? Can it be renewed? The answer is yes. So your visa screen certificate, your healthcare worker certificate is valid for 5 years, and you should definitely start thinking about renewing it before it expires. So that gives you kind of enough time to, gather all the paperwork and kind of get it done in time. So yes, it can absolutely be renewed. The next question is by Chilka. My spouse is in the US. On that basis, can I transfer my visa on work visa if I pass the NPTE? And I'm going to take this one, Ed. Chilka, I think you asked me a question. You mentioned that you were from India as well. So I'm gonna take this question. If you are, it really depends on your current visa status. So if you are on H4 or H4 EAD, you can work on H4 EAD if you have that visa. If you want to transfer your license to a work visa, which is your H1B, absolutely you can do that, but you will have to get a type 1 certificate. You will still have to have a master's degree or higher. You will still need to take Toefl, and you'll have to meet all of those requirements that other people have to in order to get a work visa. So yes, you can do it, but as far as you meet the state requirements, that is fine. You're doing okay. The next question is from Galaxy 810. They ask, as to obtaining work visa certification, do I need to upgrade my type 1 CWT 5 to CWT 6 course evaluation? So Ed, let me know if you want to take this or if you would like for me to take it.
You could take it.
Okay, so regarding your work visa, so if you already have an evaluation for another state, which was done on retro coursework tool, which is either CWT 4 or CWT 5, then for a type 1, you have to meet the CWT 6 requirements. So yes, so even if you have cleared your NPTE or you're licensed in another state, then if you're applying for a work visa, you will need a CWT 6 evaluation. And as we kind of come more towards the end of the webinar, I'm going to go back to the people who had who had sent me the questions right at the beginning. I think we had one question from Thailand. They asked, hi, I graduated with a BS degree in PT from Thailand before 2017, and I received my master's and PhD, but not in physical therapy, and the degrees from the US. Do I need another master's degree in PT in order to apply for PT license in New York? And they have another question, which is, does New York need CWT 6? So as far as you have a master's or a PhD, it's okay. You don't need another master's degree or any other degree in physical therapy. You can just use that to apply for a work visa. You should be fine. Also, if you already have a working visa, then you can directly apply for New York credentialing as well. And the next question, does New York need CWT6? No, New York is actually one of the easiest states to get licensed in. So you can directly apply for a New York evaluation. And considering the number of degrees that you have, you should most likely not have any deficits per se. So I think you should be fine. Man just posted a question in chat. He asks, is there a school for Tdpt that you recommend? Man, there are a lot of schools that offer it. I think FACS had hosted a webinar. It was a free webinar, which is now available on YouTube, and I can actually have the FACS team share the link with you. Depending on which school you choose should depend on your long-term goal and why you are doing Tdpt. So I would recommend you to go through all the different websites, see what courses the schools are offering and what interests you, and then also look at financing and budget, and then make your decision based on that. FACS does offer one-on-one consultation. So if you have some schools in mind and you want to know the pros and cons and you need any assistance with that, you can always reach out to us. And we are happy to assist you with that. Katrina's question is, if I have my FCCPT type 1, does that mean I can have my H1B? Yes and no. Like, you need type 1 in order to get an H1B. It doesn't mean that you have already gotten your H1B. It's a prerequisite. Okay. And I had this, somebody asked me this question from, this was also early on, which I saved. They asked, hi, I'm from India living in Canada, but I have a visitor visa in the US. Can I take an exam after New York credentials in the US? Sorry, it's about Philippines, but I still joined. Yes, you can still take your exam, even if though you don't have another visa. Like, you can absolutely, as far as your credentialing is done, and as far as it says that your education is substantially equivalent, you can absolutely go ahead and take your license exam. Before we end the webinar, I know we have a few more questions, but I just want to share these slides real quick. I do want to thank all of you for attending the webinar today. As all of you know, that FACS is the first organization that was created by foreign trained PTs for foreign trained PTs. And we are the only 501c3 nonprofit organization. We've all been through the same journey as all of you. The number of questions that you have, my chat is flooded right now. It's moving very fast, and we're trying our best to answer as many questions as possible. And I think we kind of addressed almost most of the questions, but we absolutely understand what you are going through. So you can, even if your answers were not, even if we couldn't get to your questions today, you can always send us an email at contact@facspt.org or reach out to any one of us, and we are more than happy to answer those questions. Another thing that people ask is, usually if it's a one-liner question, we respond via emails. If we feel like we can help you more, we do offer one-on-one consultations as well. That way we can spend some more time with you, understand what your situation is, and give you a better response that is beneficial to you. We do help with the whole evaluation process, helping you with course deficits, license endorsements, state-specific requirements that all of you were asking. The new thing about US licensure, US PT licensure in the US is the compact license process, which I know a lot of people have sent me a Facebook message about. So we do help you with all of that as well, again, depending on your education and which states you're licensed in. And I know today we had a ton of questions on the Tdpt programs, and I think it makes me really happy to see how much all of us are interested in continuing to learn and grow as physical therapists, because at the end of the day, our job is to help the patients, and the more you learn and the more you grow, it's going to put you in a better position to help your patients. So I'm really, really happy to see like how so many people wanted to pursue a further education. And if you have any questions about that, just feel free to contact the FACS team. As you can see on the right-hand side, I almost ran out of space to kind of put all of these pictures together. We have hosted a lot of free webinars. And we've got a phenomenal response from the Filipino community. And thank you so much for all the support that you all offer. And that's actually one of the reasons why we decided to do this for specifically for you guys. Again, if you need more information, you can visit the FACS website. We do have a lot of information regarding state-specific requirements. You can always email us at contact@facspt.org. We usually respond within 48 to 72 hours. You can you can watch all the previous webinars on our YouTube channel, which is factspt.org. And we also have an Instagram page. Alrighty, thank you again, Ed. I appreciate you taking your time out today and spending your Saturday evening with all of us. Thank you. Perfect. Alrighty, thank you everybody for joining us today, and we look forward to meeting you in person at conferences, as students, as licensed clinicians, and wishing all of you all the very best.